Hello and welcome to the Comic-spiracy episode 594. Meanwhile, Eve, as we call it. My name is Ryan Higgins, who's on this podcast with me tonight.
Nobody's calling it that. Brock Sager.
And not Charlie.
Oh, Kevin's doubled up on Zoom. You can mute yourself on Zoom. The listeners can't hear that, but I can. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
That's Kevin Sharp. We're 2 days away from the release of our comic book, Meanwhile, a comic shop anthology, celebrating comic book stores and also the 30th anniversary of Comics Conspiracy, the comic book store, which I own and Brock works at and Kevin shops at. And the whole reason we did this podcast in the first place was was in support of the comic store. So look at that. You're gonna have a comic book out. A lot of people already got it. A lot of people, the Kickstarter, a lot of backers, if you ordered it from the shop, you probably got it. Or if you're international, it's probably getting there soon. If you're local, you should have got it, I would think, in the last couple of days. Late last week, maybe today. It seems like most were out for delivery or delivered. So terrifying. Put something out into the world. Now it's real. Scary stuff. But we did it. We did it, Kevin. Our long national nightmare is over.
Until next volume.
Now to reap the benefits of 2 years of hard work. But honestly, no. But very proud, very happy. Everything, it turned out really good. I actually sat down and read it the other day. Read the physical copy.
Is this the
front
first
to back.
time?
Yeah. I mean, I've read the digital copy, obviously. Yeah. I've poured over every story 20 times, but actually sat down. It was like end of the day on Saturday. It was kind of slow. Like there was nobody in the shop. This is the first time I've read a comic book in the store in years. And it was just, I had like nothing to do for the last like 40 minutes of the day. And I was like,
not with that attitude.
I'm going to actually read this. So yeah, Kevin, it's pretty good. We did an okay job.
I'm still too close to it to do that, but I will do it at some point in the future. I'm just too close right now.
It's too soon.
Give yourself some space on it. But no. We definitely got some great feedback already for it. You know, I don't know. I'm just so used to the internet being so negative about everything. I'm happy we haven't got any of that yet. It's all been very positive. So, but yeah. So if you got it, I'd love to hear feedback. Love to hear what you think. If you do not have a copy yet, comicsconspiracy.biz. It's for sale. You can get it at numerous comic shops, all listed at Meanwhile. What the hell is it?
MeanwhileAnthology.com.
MeanwhileAnthology.com. There it is. Make sure I had the right URL. It's up on Amazon Kindle, formerly NE Comixology. And so it's available for pre-order. We are the number 3 anthology on Kindle for comic book and graphic novel anthologies. Look at that. Pre-orders alone. Burning up the charts. Gonna get those sales charts back. Ooh, we'll talk about sales charts later. So that's on there if you want to read it digitally. There's also copies you can get from us directly digitally on the website. It's the same link that we had people that backed on Kickstarter. So we have PDF copies and CBZ files. So you can buy that from us a little bit cheaper than it would be on Kindle. But if you could use Kindle or Amazon's little ecosystem, Ecosphere, you can get on there as well. A bunch of shops. I think we're at like 13 stores have it on top of ours. I think that was the number. And hopefully some more come in the next few weeks. And Wednesday is the official release day. Wednesday the 13th, we'll have myself, Kevin, Brock, Lane, Toby, Leanne, maybe other people, but all of us will be there. 7 to 9 p.m. Wednesday at Comics Conspiracy, September Wednesday the 13th, to have a little celebration of releasing the book and a little, that'll be our 30th anniversary celebration, I guess, for the store. We're not doing anything major. Maybe we'll get some drinks or something, but yeah, just hang out, put the book out. It's fun. We'll have it for sale all day on Wednesday. So yeah, come on down if you're local. Like I said, plenty of copies still available, so you can pick up on the website for pickup or mail order. And there it is. Done. 2 years in the works.
You're not done.
I mean, we basically are. I mean, I got a couple other Kickstarter backers emails today, so a couple more copies to go out.
No, you have to do. You'll do more press on it. You'll get nominated for an Eisner. There'll be all of the other extra stuff.
There'll be. I don't think so. I think we're done.
Volume 2.
No, we're done. Nah, Kevin's good. I think we're good. So, yeah. No, it's cool experience all around. Yeah, I posted a little bit of this on Dying Twitter today. Just like, just the amount of work that goes on the back end of this sort of thing. And, for me, it's mostly just, I'm not doing any of the physical work. It's just management stuff, right? But it's a lot of communication and a lot of emails back and forth and lots of stuff to deal with. And Kevin a little more hands-on with that stuff. And obviously Leanne did a ton of the layouts, and we had a couple other people pitch in and letterers and, all the production end stuff. It's one thing for the creators, they do their thing, but all the production end, man, comic books take a little while to put together. There's a lot of work that goes on with that. So, Kevin, do you find learning experience? You've done some of this before. How's this work for like the books you've done with Tomorrow's, or is this like kind of same level, different because it's actual comic, not all from one person in text.
It's different in that because we're the publisher and the entire infrastructure is us, right? So just dealing with normally you'd have. Like one of us would be in one particular role. Like I would just be the editor and you would just be like the publisher, for example. But because we're doing everything, it's a different experience. It was alternately fun, and I have more gray hairs now for sure. For sure. But God bless everyone for coming through. Yeah. And
no, it's still pretty. It's a lot of it's still pretty surreal.
Yeah.
Just kind of looking through the list of people on, and I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So very cool experience.
Yeah.
And there we go.
But
out in the wild, out in the world.
I still honestly, it is just too close still for me to give you like articulate, thoughtful.
Give it some time.
Yeah. Overview of the whole process. But it was, I think, I can't remember what movie we once reviewed where I said that I had experienced every letter grade on the scale at some point during the movie, so I had to average it out to a C. I'm not averaging this out to a C, but I'm saying I experienced like every human emotion at some point in these last 2 years. And so I'm going to just default and say I am both glad it's over but not in the sense of glad as like I was miserable, but I'm glad it's over in the sense that everybody could see all of their hard work come together. That's how I mean it.
Yeah. And when I was talking on I talked a bit about it last week on Geekbox with Ryan Scott, and it was kind of a similar thing where I was like, it's for a lot of people, it's just they do their thing and they move on. But yeah, for you and me, it's been this entire putting this puzzle together, right? And then me and Brock was in basically full time for the last week and a half. I was in, my full job plus another half a job shipping out all the copies. So it's not just on the production end, but also the distribution end too. So it's like we've taken on like five roles here doing this.
Right. Yeah.
And it is a whole process.
Yeah.
My hands were like that tape gun. My hands were like calloused at the end. I shipped out like 700 packages or something.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
Yeah. So that's the most we've ever done in that period by far, Brock. So
I know
you ship a lot. You don't ship that much. This is a first. So I'm not going to make you do that again anytime soon. Maybe if we do this again, maybe we'll get a real shipping company or something involved. But no, fantastic time. And if you find a copy, pick it up. Cool. Like I said, let us know what you think. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about it in the next few episodes. Just once copies are out there, and I don't know. what everyone thinks.
You can order it through your store that has the hub too.
Yeah. If other stores that use Comic Hub carry it, they have access to ordering it as well. So you can check with them. But you can order from us direct or digital. Or I was telling Kevin, I brought this before starting to record. The plan was to have copies on Amazon. Just like any other product. We just ship it out ourselves. We used to have an Amazon store, but it sucked. We had so many problems with products getting delisted by Amazon, or it would sell and then Amazon would just like relist it, even though we were sold out. It was the weirdest thing. This wasn't our bad inventory management. Me and Brock went over this multiple times. So we're like, what is going on? Like they just kept putting stuff back on and stuff would just like disappear. And there were some books that like that were out of print and they like wouldn't let us price it at like market price. Like some people would have them at like $999. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to put it up for like $50 and it wouldn't let me. It was such a weird system. So we scrapped it entirely. But I've been trying to put this up and I'm caught in some cycle where it's like, it needs a barcode. So I provide the barcode and he goes, oh, if that barcode's not valid, you can get an exemption. And I go for an exemption. He goes, you can't get an exemption because you got a barcode. You got to put the barcode in. So I'm caught in this cycle where I can't submit the thing. I've gone through help like 6 times. It's Friday. And it just won't go live on Amazon. So I'm like, all right, I don't know. Maybe I'll fake it somehow and get it listed up there some other way. But I'll try to do it correctly. I guess I'll figure it out. But yeah, I don't know.
Maybe you need to list it at $999.
Maybe. I mean, my plan was to have it up there, but I mean, if we don't, we don't. I just like to give customers options, but I mean, no big deal if I don't have to give Amazon.
Hell, at this rate, just put it up on eBay if Amazon's not even gonna.
Oh yeah. We totally can. We could totally put it on eBay as well. Especially for international people, that's good because they just have to deal with eBay's international shipping, and we don't have to deal with that. So yep. It's cool. We'll see. Hopefully that gets live.
Which didn't you love dealing with a shipping change in between the time of the end of the Kickstarter and now?
With the UPS Ground Advantage and international shipping stuff worked out okay. I mean, it's not cheap by any means. It's expensive, but most people paid for it. I had a couple of people that didn't realize there were shipping charges for international, but I don't know. If you're just internationally buying from the States, I don't know what other options there are. Like, it just costs $20 to ship a package. Yeah. That's just what it costs. Like, we don't have a choice. Like, we're not making any money on this. So, it's maybe there's large vendors that do other types of shipping, because that's basically what we did. Is the site we used, Easy Ship, which works with Kickstarter for fulfillment. It's pretty good for the domestic stuff once it was all set up, but for international stuff, basically, we had to charge them on the back end, and it goes into like some Kickstarter or Easy Ship / Kickstarter run. Like, it must just be some sort of like bulk, shipping company. So it's not just like individual package traveling, right? Everything was going to like City of Industry in LA. So just going to one of the big ports. It's all okay. Here's all the international shipping. They scan everything. It just goes out to different crates, and all that stuff is distributed locally. So it's going to like the post office or UPS, because those were $50 to ship. So $50. So this is slower, but significantly cheaper. But yeah, international shipping is a nightmare. So yeah, there's nothing we could do. That's just how much it costs. Even domestic shipping has gone up so much. There's no ads as a graphic novel, so we were able to send this out media. It takes a little bit longer, but it gets there significantly cheaper. So again, we didn't have to charge people like $10 to ship it. So that was helpful.
The best is I shipped this out, and it's more comic for less than shipping out a single issue comic takes nowadays. A single issue comic will cost you like $6. And some odd cents.
Yeah, if you see shipping charges from sites, I mean, we're not making money on this. This is what it costs. This is, even stuff like flat rate priority is cheaper, so stuff has just been going out that way instead.
I ship priority to tons of eBay customers because eBay doesn't know what the hell to charge for shipping. It's like $12, and I'm like, I can throw this in a flat priority legal
it's
envelope
real
for $7.90.
weird.
Like,
yeah, it's real weird. Yeah, if you see these shipping charges online, like again, we don't control those. We're not setting this up. This all just comes from the USPS or UPS or eBay or whatever. So like, we're not making money on this. Like, this is just what they charge. It's kind of tough. But yeah, graphic novels can still go out for the most part as media mail, so that's helpful. But okay, there you go. Meanwhile, Comic Shop Anthology, $10 a comics, 88 pages, I think it is. Sounds right. I said 80. I never updated that in the description.
That's okay.
We just had extra pages, so that's okay. You get a bonus.
Wouldn't you rather under promise and over deliver?
Yeah, 10% more.
Than say it's a 90-page comic and somebody goes, I got ripped off.
It's only 88 pages. So yeah, we're gonna move on to some regular news. And again, if you picked up a copy or if you got one or you get the digital copy, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send it over to us in the Facebook group or hit us up on Blue Sky or Twitter, I guess.
I keep just hashtagging Meanwhile a Comic Shop Anthology.
That's a really long hashtag.
I know, but it works, baby.
All right. I talked about everyone's favorite, especially Bryce's favorite sales charts. I'm sure he's listening. I'm sure he's excited for this. We're going to talk about sales charts and Mark Miller is how we're going to start this conversation. So it's going to go great.
Oh, dear God.
Well, this just to get covered by a bunch of sites. Comics Beat started covering this. I think Bleeding Cool did too. But of all people, Mark Miller had a big long thread about some of the sales of the comic industry, how we don't have like sales charts, how there's some stores that are having a hard time over the last year or two as sales have kind of returned to pre-COVID levels. And obviously that's not great for some shops and some stores, for some shops and some companies. How Image hasn't had like a really big hit in quite a while. And how there's all sorts of, how to save the industry. And, it is one of those like, what's that? The worst person you know just made a great point. Things. Cause he did say, right. How do you get people back in stores, right? Is you get 20 legendary comic creators, get them over to Marvel and DC and do like multiple year-long runs on books. And it's like, there's a part of that. Yeah, of course. Sure. You want to increase sales, get really good creators on big comics. Sure. I just think Marvel is not in the position anymore to do that. I've heard all sorts of crazy stuff that Marvel's sales are struggling pretty significantly. And again, it's not affecting us. Like, we're fine. Like, our sales are, down on certain stuff, but good on certain stuff. And it seems no different to me. Yeah, there's no like big major blockbuster book right now from Marvel. I think like Donny Cates kind of getting out was sort of the end. And they haven't been bringing in any like big names. Again, stuff's selling okay, but there's nothing that's like, knocking the doors down.
God's is going to bring everybody back.
We'll see. And I think with DC, I think Donna DC's done pretty good. I think there's a lot of like, you got people at Marvel that are like, I think like Al Ewing's like, he's right on the edge. Like, he hasn't broken into like that superstar status yet, but he's written a lot of books that people like. DC has a bunch of people that are like right there. Obviously people like Mark Waid back, and some of the books that are in for Black Label are really nice. They're cool. They may not be the best sellers, but they're going to be long-term sellers. And they've got some good buzz around those books. So, it's cool to get a bunch of legendary comic creators back to do multiple year runs of books. That sounds great. I think the legendary comic creator part's a little less important than just the multiple year runs on books. Like, let's get less miniseries out. Let's get some actual like reason for people to commit to coming in the shops regularly.
But how are we supposed to make money when we can't restart Amazing Spider-Man at number 1 again?
Yeah, it's
or Thor at number 1 again, or every single title at number 1 again after. Who knows? It could be 6. Yeah. It could be 8 issues, 12 issues, 24 issues. Nobody knows anymore. They're just like, well, here's another run of this.
Yeah, I've said before, I'm not as bothered if it's a brand new creative team. I would like some time if you're going to end a book, but like if you're going to do it, doing it with the new creative team, like if Tom King kept going with 801, or if Si Spurrier kept going Flash with 801, or if Al Ewing took over Thor with, it'd be 36, I believe, 36, 37. I mean, they would probably sell less than if it was a number 1. So the companies are right. At the end of the day, they are right for doing it. I just wish, if you're going to do it, don't have it be like 5 issues. Like, do it for a long time. And if you're Jason Aaron's Thor, he should have written issue like 75, not
that thing
5,
restarted 3 times.
12, it was like 5 times. Like, it restarted so many fucking times.
Oh, that's like, right, because it was God of Thunder, Mighty Thor, Thor.
Then there was 2 volumes of Thor, I think.
Yeah, then there was 2. Yeah,
it's crazy. So,
and then didn't it end with King Thor?
Yeah, well, that was like the mini. Yeah. And War of Realms. So I am getting. Let's get some legendary comic creators back on. Okay, who? Right? Who do you want to bring on? I mean, you talking like Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman? Are you talking like, Scott Snyder, like fairly recent people that have gone off to do indie work? When you say top tier creators, do you mean artists that can't do a monthly comic? You're not going to get Adam Hughes to do 24 issues of interior work for a comic book. That's just not how it works. So it sounds great. Just get the best people ever that are currently working in comics to come back and all do stuff. I mean, that sounds great, but I don't think that's how it works. So, there was reports from Bleeding Cool that basically everyone wants sales charts back. They want to be able to go out and talk about their successes, but nobody wants to release numbers unless everyone else is releasing numbers. And no one is, again, this is from Bleeding Cool, so take it with a giant grain of salt, but according to him, no one is independent enough to cover these numbers. Comic-Con doesn't like report sales chart. He reports sales charts, but not like taking the numbers and getting them. He reports what's there. So he's not an option. I mean, I'll throw my hat in the ring. Sure. Marvel, DC, Image. You guys want? I'll run your sales charts every month.
This will be just comic sales charts?
Yeah, I'll do it. But like, I don't know.
Will there be a website that just has sales charts?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, like
just comic shop news.
Yes, I just think maybe a company will just put the numbers out publicly and start it. But yeah, nobody wants to be the first one out. So I don't know. I've seen good reasoning from publishers of why they want sales charts. There's a lot of comparison where they're like, okay, we see what other companies, similar type books, similar creators, we now have a gauge of how well we think this creator will do. We have an idea of how much this product might sell. So it gives them a better idea of potential. It could hurt some sales where they're like, oh, this creator sucks, this concept sucks, look at the sales, it just doesn't work. But it'll give some people a better chance, right, where they're actually out there with public facing numbers to show like, oh, there is a market for this type of comic or this creator. So to me, I think you can't let the press determine sales numbers. I think this stuff should be public. I think it's look at all the stuff with streaming services. Look at all the actor strike, the writer strike, right? I mean, I think the only reason you hide it is because you're trying to hide something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Good or bad should not be the narrative for why you release this stuff. It should be public knowledge. From a collectible point of view, from a business point of view, this should be public information. I think digital numbers should be shared. I think physical copies should be shared. Give me a month. I'll share our numbers for what we've sold for Meanwhile, a Comic Shop Anthology across all formats in every form. I don't care. I'll tell you exactly what we've sold. I'll tell you exactly how many printed and how many we sold. I'll give it a month. I'll do it mid next month. I think it's good for people out there to know what the industry is. And, people may think, oh, that's bad, but, whatever the number is, that's not good enough. But no, that shouldn't matter. You can't let that dictate your product. So hopefully we get sales stress back at some point. I'm always up for some good big creators come back and do and work at Marvel and DC. That's great, but I think the effect would be limited if there's not a push back in for fans to buy the stuff on a regular basis. But if it's 6 months of the new Thor book and then you're just relaunching with the new number one, it's like, well, okay. I really think that does more damage than it does than good. You get that boost for the number one, but man, I don't know.
That 2 drop is even worse.
It's bad. It's real bad. I think because it just goes right back to it goes to exactly what the sale is.
Yeah, it goes to
momentum.
Yeah,
it goes to what the sale of number one is minus a little bit. Right? There's just no momentum. There's I don't know. It's not. There's no perfect answer, but I just think they need to go back to these longer running ongoing titles. I really think it's a mistake.
Well, I think it's so. As somebody who has read comic books avidly for now 16 years, and just seeing the industry, especially with like New 52 and Rebirth and all this stuff, and Marvel going through their renumbering and all of that stuff, it's what we lost from those early days of comics is consistency, right? The books aren't consistent. They're not there every month on the rack, ready to go. There's a story. We put it out there. Everything fits into, it needs to fit into this, and like 4-issue story arc or 3-issue story arc or 6 or 8 to fit a graphic novel to release for later dates, which is fine. But a lot of times just some of those issues of just having an issue that's, a good, well-written issue. And when you renumber over and over again, there's no consistency. It's not constant. Like people go, oh, well, I don't like this creative team, so I guess I'm done for now. And then they don't come back because it's not consistent anymore.
Well, there is the problem on both sides, right? Where if it's a new number one, people think it's a good jumping on point. That's great. But it's also a good jumping off point. I argue that a lot of people will continue either way. I think it probably doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I think the goosing of number one sales is not indicative of what the industry really is, and I think it doesn't. I think it's giving you a false idea of sales.
Well, that's
comics since the beginning of time there's been issues that have only been 1 or 2 issues and then been canceled. There's been runs that have only lasted 10, 12, 8, 16 issues, things that cancel constantly, right? So, the exception was Action Comics and Amazing Spider-Man, right? Those really are the exceptions, not the rule. But I think those, you don't have to have, a Silver Sable ongoing book for 1,000 issues. But I think you should have those books. Your Amazing Spider-Man, your Action Comics, you should continue those legacy numbering.
Like the consistent titles, right? Like the long-standing, those big characters, right? Like those need to be consistent, right? Like
Yep.
like you said, Wonder Woman's restarting and Flash is restarting, right? Or are they going with 801?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're restarting.
Yep.
But it's like it's 801.
It is. They may have legacy numbering on them,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I know, so Batman does, right? Action and Detective went back to legacy numbering. So, yeah, legacy numbering is the right answer if that's what you really want, if that's the way to go about it. So, we've talked about this a lot.
But
yeah, I just hope that
if a new Swamp Thing comes out, I'm okay. Right? Swamp Thing's a character that's like, we've had some good runs, we've had some bad runs, but these characters come back for a duration that is whatever they got the legs for. Right. But I think the problem is you look at this and like, oh, we're going to, if we release it a new number one, we're going to get those boosted numbers and then we're going to hit those incentive numbers. And it's this forced increase in counting.
Well, like I said, they're not real, right? You get them for the one issue, but you lose sales. Again, I don't care if the book's gone for a year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever, and then you have a new number one. That's fine. It's the constant, we're going to have a 5-issue Silk miniseries followed by a 5-issue Silk miniseries followed by a 5-issue Silk miniseries followed by a 5-issue Silk miniseries. There's no reason for this. There is no reason to do this.
Silk should have just been...
It's frustrating to customers, to stores. I think that actually does hurt the book in the long run. All right, we're going to move on. I know we talked the other week about Valiant comics kind of dying off and coming back. We got a little more info on that. I'm hoping, fourth time's the charm.
Oh, I'm done.
Maybe fourth.
I'm done.
Alien Books were the new, I guess, publisher. They're not really publisher. They're publishing Valiant, but they're the I guess, like co-publisher.
Is it the new hedge fund owned thing?
No, they publish other stuff. No, they're a book publisher. But they are gonna starting in 2024, starting in I believe January is what it says, the first 6 months of 2024. The first 6 months of Valiant 2024. I take that back. So at some point in 2024, the Valiant comics will return, including X-Men War and Ninjak. And what was the other one? There's going to be
Eternal Warrior. It was a straight-to-graphic novel.
Yeah, there's going to be an anthology. There's going to be like a
Valentine's Day
anthology coming out. Yeah, the Valentine's Day anthology book. And then there's going to be Britannia, which is another one of the and the Valiants, which is one of the books. So they got stuff coming. We'll see. And some of the graphic novels. So this is actually the thing I'm the most excited for. They're going to continue their Valiant Classic collections, which reprint the original stuff. I don't know how this works, though, because they're printing Archer and Armstrong and Ninjak. But how do you do those without Solar, Turok, and Magnus? I don't like. They cross over. Archer and Armstrong starts its book in a cross in the Unity crossover. So I'm not sure how this is how they do this. I would love for them to get those 3 characters back and then get nice collections of all that original Valiant stuff. Whatever. I don't care what you do for the new books. Go crazy, but give me those original books back in complete collections. Yes, please. So we'll see. At least they're as of now plans. So we'll
I think I'm done.
Keep an eye on it. Goes. Yeah, I mean, talk about consistency, right? Yeah. Like it's hard to get people back into the Valiant stuff now because it's been so.
Well, like I've actually
non-existent.
I enjoyed like the Becky Cloonan. I always butcher her last name. Cloonan. Like her and Liam Sharp's Exo-Man War's been good. I've been enjoying it, but I don't know if it's going to finish. And if they're finishing it in this Alien Books thing, I'm like, okay, but I just can't anymore because it's just the consistency is not there. Valiant's the perfect example of a company that had a great relaunch in 2012 and out the gate running, had their big core books out, long running, then they stopped, and everyone was like, or like Exo Manowar hit 50, and then it's like, oh, we're just going to do creative team relaunches. So it's like, who knows how many books you're going to get out of this one. Bloodshot has been like 4 to 6 issues and done ever since. And Jeff Lemire wrote some of it, right? Like,
yeah, and they don't even feel like they're connected. They feel like they're weird, like just these disconnected one-offs. And Valiant, I mean, like I said, talk about no consistency. I'm not saying these books have to run forever, but it feels like they just are throwing shit at the wall and nothing was sticking.
And they had a great like contained universe within those, like that Archer and Armstrong, Harbinger, Bloodshot, Exoman, that early stuff, and Ninja, like all of that stuff had a universe consistency to it in that relaunch and that first kind of real run of the books. But then it's just nope, they lost it hard and just went like short miniseries, and it was just okay. So yeah.
Yeah, it's real weird. I don't like it.
How does a comic store order Valiant these days?
Sub only.
Shelf plus 2 copies until those 2 copies don't sell, then sub only. Just default, independent. I mean, we ordered more of Exo Manowar number 1. Yeah, good creative team. We definitely sold okay. And we sold okay on 2. What did we get 3?
I think we had 3, yeah.
The 3 come out?
3
and then I sold like 1 shelf copy of 3 after like months late, and yeah, none of the rest. Again, I'll order, generic shelf copy plus 2, and I'll give it a shot. I'll give them all a shot, but it's tough. It's tough. I wish. I think I've sold more. I think I've sold more of those $100 omnibuses, collecting some of the original Valiant stuff than I have in single issue $4 versions of their new comics. So that tells you something. Speaking of graphic novels and omnibuses, DC Comics has announced another slew of reprints, not specifically publicly mentioned by James Gunn. So people are all kind of questioning at least a couple of these to see if there's a more direct relation here. First of all, and this is something that's coming out. There was a Vertigo book called Bodies a number of years ago by Cy Spencer. No, not Cy Superior. People have made that mistake by Cy Spencer. Why didn't you realize I passed away? And early Tula Lote artwork in there too. And Megan Hetrick. Apparently this is a show on Netflix. I had no idea this was a thing that even coming. Like I maybe read the first issue or 2, but I didn't read the whole thing.
I think I checked out like the first issue or something, but it didn't grab me.
Yeah, it was years ago. But I had no idea this was a show. I never heard of this until this trade reprint got announced, and I was like, "Why are they reprinting this?" I was like, "Oh, for a Netflix show? What the fuck? Wait, really? Okay." Okay. They're reprinting the Seven Soldiers by Grant Morrison omnibus, which is fantastic if you haven't read it. Now that makes a little bit more sense because that's where the modern take on Frankenstein's monster on DC's version of Frankenstein comes from. That would be later in Frankenstein Agents of Shade and a few other books. So and he is part of Creature Commandos, so it makes sense that character is showing up here. Now I cannot get this to load. Twitter does not work anymore, apparently. But according to the Superman Twitter account, the Superman Brainiac arc by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank is going to be part of the basis for Superman Legacy. To what degree? I don't know. I've no idea. That runs fantastic. I know the Superman and Legion of Superheroes run is also book is also getting reprinted. So I think it's a Jeff Johns comic, so it should be in print at all times. But very happy if elements of Superman Brainiac is getting used in the James Gunn. I think Brainiac is villain number 1 requested by comic fans in a Superman movie because, look, I love Lex Luthor and Zod, but there are more than 2 villains in Superman's Rogues Gallery. And Brainiac is top of the top right there. So please, I would love a Brainiac movie. And Superman Ending Battle, which is also part of the it's one of the Manchester Black big story arcs. So clearly, I had kind of assumed this was. I think we talked about this when all this got announced. You go from Superman to Authority. Authority could not really be used in the DC universe, but the Elite, where Manchester Black comes from, was sort of their like in-universe take on the Authority. I had said from the very start, if you're doing Superman followed by the Authority, wouldn't that Action Comics 775, that Superman issue where he fights Manchester Black and the Elite, wouldn't that make like a killer Authority, but like some sort of mashup between those two stories and those two teams? So that is just me hoping I wish that into existence. And Gail Simone has publicly mentioned numerous times that she would kill for a Wonder Woman animated series. Of course, I think everyone would expect her to work on that show running in some fashion if that did happen. And the Gail Simone Wonder Woman Omnibus is coming back in print in November. So maybe that's going to happen too. I just think, again, a book that should be available, her Wonder Woman run, especially with the new, with all eyes on Tom King's run coming up, big push for Wonder Woman comics, and Gail Simone generally regarded as one of the better recent runs. So yeah, there you go. A bunch of new DC books coming back in print that have been out of print for a while. So,
when are the DC Epic collections coming, Ryan?
Man, talk about willing something into existence. Whenever I talk to people at DC, I tell them the same two things. I say,
"You're amazing."
If you want to make people happy, you print Sandman Mystery Theater Volume 10, Rebels Volume 5, Resurrection Man Volume 2, Starman hardcover, Starman soft covers Volumes 4, 5, and 6. Right? What have they done in the last year? Starman compendiums, Sandman Mystery Theater compendiums. We're not for Rebels one yet. But we got two. We got two of the four. I've said, Epics, you guys are missing the boat. Like, you've got to get on this. You've got to get on.
What
this.
would they be called? They can't be called Epic.
World's finest.
Too long.
The Brave and the Bold.
Too long.
All-Star Comics.
Epic collection.
Close?
No,
Close?
I think that the name of the line is like the secondary consideration, right? You want to know it. You want basically define it for listeners who may not know. It's soft cover. I don't know how long those things are. 200 pages?
Oh, like 400 pages. Okay. Yeah.
They're fair sized.
They run 20 issues or so. So about 20 issues. Yeah. They are a year or two's worth of character appearances in chronological order. It usually follows by series. So, like, we don't have Web of Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man unless they're part of the crossovers, but we have Amazing Spider-Man. They release them out of order. So you're not worrying about volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They jump around in order, which is secretly an amazing way to do this because things fall in and out of print and things come back. And
it gives them the opportunity to keep the stuff that's demand in print while not having to adhere to that long volume thing that nobody wants to.
Right, because you can't keep every book in print forever. It's impossible. No. So you just have to kind of pick and choose what you're going to be back in print and new stuff comes up. It's everything from Fantastic Four Fantastic Four #1 till 90s is really where it starts. And now they have Modern Epics, which is reprinting the modern stuff, so 2000s and up.
But it's not necessarily even a storyline. It's like it's like a handful of issues.
Complete chronological in order, including things like guidebooks and annuals and
random one-shots.
One-shots and parts of anthologies that the character appears in. Yeah. So you have stuff like, Iron Fist, which is like kind of every appearance. And then you have the books like Amazing Spider-Man or X-Men that are in the books in order. But those pull in any extraneous crossover issues because they're kind of like the prime book.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to handle like a Web of Spider-Man or Spectacular if the crossovers are just, in amazing and you just have like a filler page skipping. I'm not sure how they're going to really deal with that, which is kind of why I think they haven't. Because you're not going to reprint like, Maximum Carnage in every single Amazing Spider-Man book that it ties into. You're just going to have that be in Amazing Spider-Man. So what I would do with DC, right? I've said this for a long time. I'm so happy to do the Golden and Silver Age omnibuses, but really only lunatics like me are going to buy that, right? They are not readable or accessible to a modern audience. I think most Marvel Silver Age stuff is. I think most DC Silver Age and Golden Age stuff, especially Golden Age, is not. Keep those to omnibus format. You get a little questionable in the Gold and then Bronze Age, but I think just as a good starting point, just do post-crisis. Just start Batman 401, Detective, what is it, like 478 or 578 or something like that. I forget what the issue is. Start with Flash #1, start with Wonder Woman #1, start with Green Lantern Corps 201, I guess.
Well, the Wonder Womans, you already had that line of Perez trades.
Yeah, but then you can, but those are mostly out of print at this point.
That's
they
kind
of go in and out.
Yeah.
So I would format those out to epics. And look, you're going to obviously always have year one available as its own collection. You're going to always have things like that. So
like Hush and all those.
Yeah, those can be doubled up. But I think you can run solid on every major title post Crisis, up to New 52, and then you do a New 52 version and then a Rebirth and Beyond version. Because, I get rid of those skinny little trades. Give me those nice, $40, $50 trades, 20 issues, good solid form factor, reprint a bunch. Again, pop around, just jump around, reprint here and there. Yeah, it gets tough when you get things like, No Man's Land. How do you print that?
Right.
You just stick it in Batman? You stick every issue in Batman?
That's the good thing to do would be, like you were talking about before with Amazing and Web and all that. You have a filler page that would say, these are tie-in issues that would have been gone here. Here's what you would need to read before the next issue. Right,
but
have
it's something
informational pages. At least that way you can read them digitally.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
But in something like No Man's Land, you're going to just take a year out of every character's book. I mean, because that thing ran forever. Yeah. So there's questions. I don't have an answer. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you just don't put those in there and you have the No Man's Land soft covers. It's its own thing. You just shove in between. That might be the best way to do it. I really don't know. You could just run Batman straight. You could just go, this is just the Batman issues, just straight through. And if they actually are crossing over, then you
just make
those,
some nice editor's notes pages.
Yeah, I don't think there's a really good way. You just got to kind of think of the best worst way to do it. So but I would kill for some epics. Let DC know. I think they've been missing the boat on this.
They have missed the boat. We've been telling them.
And they are reprinting some Silver Age omnibuses, which I'm very happy about, which means they're going to continue those. Green Lantern Omni Silver Age is coming back, and because now they have Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman Silver Age volumes have already been solicited or have already come out. So they're actually doing this, and they're reprinting a lot of that stuff. So
I was thinking a perfect model of a DC epic, but this is older than what you were talking about. Was that hardcover they did? It's the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Space Traveling Heroes. Is the Mike Grell issues right after the Neil Adams stuff?
Yeah,
that's not one storyline, and it literally just printed a run of like 20 issues.
So I think there was that. There was the wedding of
Iris,
Adam,
and Jean Loring. Yeah,
Jean Loring. There was the wedding of Barry and Iris graphic novel. I think those are last year's Didio. I think those were tests for hardcover epic collections because that's what they feel like. They were reprinting just a couple consecutive. There's a run of the book.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
They did that World's Finest one with the Superman team ups.
Yep.
Right. And then there was a Bronze Age JLA, like Defenders of the Earth or something like that.
Yep. So there's a handful of these that came out. It feels like
Aquaman
those
one?
were. I mean, there was a couple.
Okay.
So it feels like these were tests for this, but they had the formatting wrong and the naming wrong. Right? They were just random,
and they weren't anything that was going to grab anybody.
Yeah, you need to get that Epic Collection. Remember, you go back to when Epic Collection started. I was like, what are they fucking thinking? Like, they're never going to do this. This is insane. This is so weird. Okay, they did it. So everything else, if DC does them, they've got to commit. They've got to publicly commit to these in a way that I don't know if a publisher can. So it's they're still fighting against years and years of bad editorial problems with the graphic novel department. So we'll see. But I
also don't think one of those books that I was interested in, the cover price was like $69.95.
They were expensive.
Like that's insanity. It's a slug of really, let's be honest, not especially memorable Bronze Age DC comics that you're going to have a very niche audience. And so if your strategy is we're a restaurant that gets few customers, so we're going to price everything hugely high to try to balance out the lack of, and in this case, it would be readers, right? Not diners, but it just seems like that's a non-starter.
Marvel Epics are creeping up to $50. There's been a bunch that are they were $34.99, then $39, $44.99. At this point,
is going to kill it.
At this point, $40 is a great price. $50 you start to get some. People are going to start backing off at 50. Eventually, maybe, but now if they can do $40, 20 issues, I think that is perfect.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah, around 400 pages, $40.
Well,
perfect.
Because honestly, I can go over to Dark Horse and get a library edition for $50.
Yeah, and it's a giant oversized.
It's a giant oversized hardcover.
Yeah.
So, like Marvel's saying, "Oh well, I'm like, no. The paper quality is decent on those library editions. Like, you don't need to go over excessive on them. They're, Epic is kind of in with how they have them, but
yeah.
DC has the potential to be like, all right, we're gonna find it and go with it.
Yeah. I got one more story for us, and then we're going to.
I forgot to say, the only reason we're getting that Brainiac one reprinted is I think the scene with John and Clark is going to be in there, but I don't know if they're going to be having root beer or beer.
Oh, there you go. Callback. Right.
Hey,
So I knocked off another rare DC book off my list. I got the DC 80-page Elseworlds and book. You know this one, Kevin? You know this one, Brock? This was the one that was recalled. That was pulp. They never got U.S. distribution on it because this is the one where they had the story where Superman's babysitter, where it was like the Looney Tunes style short story where he was like climbing in like ovens and microwaves and like playing with knives.
Oh, like the Roger Rabbit one?
Yeah, and DC pulled it, right? DC pulled it. So it only released, which funny enough, Comics Conspiracy regular and meanwhile anthology co-writer Dan Johnson had a bunch of copies and never told me. He had a story, so he had comps. He had comps, and I never knew. But I finally got a copy of this. So that issue of Action Comics, where Clark and John and Jonathan Pa Kent have the beer, that is one of the very few oddity comics that I need. I think it's that, and the one I will probably never get, the Death Jeanette Kahn. Wait, I can't forget which one is. It's the one. Do you know what I'm talking about, Kevin? So there's an issue of Sandman 8 that has the misprinted. Misprinted.
There's like 600 of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's the Sandman Sound of Our Wings issue that was Uh,
Let me look up exactly who it was because one of them had one of them had you just not called Sandman. What do you call it? Sandman? Yeah, Sandman. There you go. One of them has has the Karen Berger editorial
yes.
inside, and the traditional one has I believe it's Jeanette Kahn editorial. Like they misprinted it, and so there's a misprint copy of Sandman #8. One of the few books I'm looking for. Those very odd DC misprinted books. So not too many. But I got that. I'm very happy I got that Elseworld book. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's one of the few. I think not only that. I think that was the only one of those DC 80-page giants I didn't have from like the 90s. Yeah. I remember it in the late 90s when they were doing those. That might be the only one I didn't actually have. On top of it being a rare or weird book. So
wow, I didn't. Geez, come on, Dan could hook his editor up too. Oh, wait, was that the last story? You said you had one more story. Was it you?
One more. Bill, let's talk about Sandman. About Sandman. Before we go move to some questions here. We are getting physical copies of Sandman, the Netflix show, on Blu-ray and 4K. So extremely rare for Netflix to release physical copies. So now the question is this always the deal? It was always going to happen? Is this Netflix being like, this was a big hit, so let's do this? Is this Warner Brothers and Netflix going, oh, fuck, streaming's dead. We got to get people back on physical media, just like Disney Plus is now releasing all its shows on physical media. We've been losing money all this time. People will buy this shit and still subscribe to our service. What were we thinking? We're morons.
Seriously, we this is comic book what people 101. Like, people will buy multiple versions of the same things that they like. Like,
yeah, you could release a new version of Star Wars on Blu-ray every single year, and people would just buy them. So, like yeah,
you could change the cover art every 5 years and be like, woohoo! Like Disney had the Vault program. I'm like, you know how many times I've bought Little Mermaid?
Yeah. So it does feel like I'm hoping it's the last. I'm hoping it's the last one where they're like, oh shit, maybe we should actually put the stuff physically because this is what people want, and maybe this makes more sense. So yep. And again, I wait on a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff where I'm like, I'll wait till Black Friday, wait till it goes cheap. I'll still buy the physical copy, but I don't need everything. Oh, this is a day one pre-order for me. Sandman, 100%, no question asked. How much you need? $50 done.
I looked at it. I didn't click pre-order yet because I'm like, are you adding more or is this all I'm getting?
Oh, I mean, it comes with some special features and stuff.
Oh, I know, but sometimes they sneak in. Oh, it's also a digital version.
Yeah, I mean, they could. Well, yeah, I think there's no digital version, right? Because it's on Netflix.
Yeah, because it's on Netflix. But that's why I'm like, well, I'll probably pre-order it closer to, but
Yeah, that's what Pirate Bay is for. But we could see some special editions at different retailers, so that may make me switch my pre-order. But for now, yep, definitely, 100%.
You're gonna get that Steelbook that Best Buy's gonna get?
No, I hate Steelbooks. I hate Steelbooks. I don't. That's why I didn't pre-order. Well, I would have waited anyway, but that's why I didn't pre-order. That's one of the reasons I didn't pre-order any of the Disney stuff because it's all fucking Steelbooks. I like Steelbooks. I mean, people like them. Cool. I hate them. So no, normal book, not steel. Normal book, plastic.
You need your plastic in hard black 4K. Plastic,
blue plastic cover. Yeah. Oh yeah, Sandman. Of course it's gonna be.
No, 4K is black.
I know. Yeah, of course I'm getting it in black. So yes, Sandman coming to physical media the way God intended very soon.
Now wait, Ryan. Before we leave this topic, when you purchase this, will you sit down and watch it, or is this going on your shelf?
Oh, I'll probably just rip it and throw it on my Plex server. Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it again at some point. Sure, maybe I'll watch it again before season 2 comes out. So in 5 years. Oh, that's a good question.
I thought it was a yes/no.
No. The question that just popped in my head. I wonder what the resolution is. I wonder if they fixed it, or if it's that fucking weird ass stretched ass Netflix thing. Because if I rip it, I'll just have to fix that myself. I'll have to go in like Toby and fix the resolution myself. I'll watch them when season 2 comes out, or never again. It's the buying and the ripping and putting it on my Plex server and checking off a box and being like, it's there for me to watch someday. When I'm a giant blob, I'll just sit there and be like, play all.
It's a dangerous path, Ryan Higgins.
Whoa!
It's a dangerous path, because then you start looking at the color, you start looking at up-resing it yourself on the older stuff. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I could go into a crazy asylum because of fucking trying to get the perfect versions of my fucking old cartoons.
I have mostly given up because of the file size of 4K files. I'm not too concerned. I do rip most of my stuff at 1080p, but I have all the new stuff I've been buying 4K since it's been 4K at launch, and dealing with that.
So looking for a good copy of Bionic 6, man. just DVD quality. Then I could get it over the hump to the next quality level, because I can upraise it a little bit. But man, just good DVD. Everything I got, I bought in like 3 different bootlegs, the cons, all horseshit.
All garbage.
All horseshit. Unwatchable. Not even watchable.
Maybe it'll come out when the X-Men 97 cartoon comes out. I need a good copy of Pride of the X-Men. Because I have not seen an actual viewable copy of that in my searches on the internet. So, and I would love Disney Plus to put that on there, to put that on their service, because
that's a must-have.
That was if no one's ever seen it. It's the sort of, it's kind of like the test for
pilot.
It's not really.
Pilot.
Is it? It's not really the.
It's the pilot.
I'm sure. I mean, it is kind of.
It's the pilot before they figured everything out.
Yeah, it's kind of the test for the X-Men animated series, but more importantly, it's what the X-Men video game is based on, the arcade game. If you wonder why it's like this is almost like the video, or almost like the cartoon, but it's a little off, it's because it's based on Pride of the X-Men. That's what they went on. So the short that's around, it's on YouTube, and you can find them on torrent sites and stuff, but it's garbage quality. It's so bad.
Yep.
I would kill for a real release of that, because it's good. Yep. It's nice looking.
I really like that one.
I saw a VHS copy 30 years ago, and it was it's high quality animation. But I would love to see an actual release of that.
I actually hope now that also Nickelodeon is releasing the Fred Wolf Turtles, that they're actually going to go over and actually do some quality work on it, because the existing copies that exist right now, the best version you could buy is DVD, and it's not the best DVD quality there is. It's really, really bad.
The 80s Turtles cartoon?
The Fred Wolf one?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, the 80s
one. The original. Yeah, they never put that out in any modern. Is that streaming anywhere? They never put that out in any.
The first 2 seasons are, but now that they're announced that they're officially doing it, I'm really hoping they're going to properly up-res with some care and some restoration process. I don't know.
It is crazy for one of the most popular comic book to media franchises of all time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That original cartoon has kind of just not
one of the worst DVD releases of all time.
Yeah, they never even Batman. Obviously, Batman the Animated Series has had numerous great releases. And they redid the new versions,
including an HD.
Yeah, all the Super Friends stuff they redid. You could get Spider-Man His Amazing Friends internationally, but we never got it here. But this looks good. So there's they've redone a lot of those cartoons. Even the '90s stuff all came out in perfectly fine quality physical media formats.
No, I mean, it really does matter who puts them out, because those Ninja Turtles, whoever put those out, whoever the distributor was, didn't care. because I got some Shout Factory mask. You remember mask? Which is older than Ninja Turtles. And I pop one, and these are DVDs. They're not Blu-ray. They're DVDs. I pop one of those, and I'm like, whoa, the quality in these are like picture perfect. And I could take those and up-res those to a 1080 easily. Yeah. And I'm like, man, it really does matter who puts them out, because there are companies that really put a lot of care into
Shout Factory.
Some restoration.
Shout Factory is great.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
Shout Factory is awesome.
Everything they do. I mean, everything I've ever seen by them is a real high quality. I don't know, maybe there's some misses out there, but everything I've ever seen has been really good quality.
It's all worth them, because they're slightly more expensive, but their releases were always worth it.
Yeah, Turtles. That's so weird. That feels like Nickelodeon must have just been like. Was it always Nickelodeon? Was that?
No, they just got the rights. They announced it at Comic-Con that they got the rights for it.
So they never had it when they bought everything else. So who?
No, well, they had the whole thing, except for they didn't have the rights to the original cartoon.
Right. Who had? Where did that air? That wasn't Fox. Who had that?
Yeah, it was Fox. Wasn't it? It was Fox, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I watched it in different countries, so don't ask me.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I think Lionsgate had the releases. I think maybe it's Lionsgate. I'm trying to walk over to my shelf. Hold on.
Did the movies? Actually,
no. I'm talking about the cartoons.
Yeah, it's just so weird that got stuck in some weird, I don't know, maybe some weird legal hell. But yeah, it feels like that Turtles cartoon should be like a perennial release. Like, I feel that would be a massive seller. It's so bizarre that's been unavailable.
Yeah. Well, recently they just released the 2000 series.
Yeah.
Just recently. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't sure about.
I'm trying to look on the shelf. I can't find it right now. But yeah, I don't know who put out that set. That's not a good set.
Well, I got two questions here. We're going to get through these while you're looking real quick, Toby. Let me ask this first question. This is from Joe Duff on Patreon. And of course, if you subscribe to us on Patreon, patreon.com/comicconspiracy, you can kick us a couple bucks and have access to our Q&A thread. You can ask us questions on there, which we will get to on this podcast. Joe said, thoughts about heavy metal. There was an article on Comics Beat, The Uncertain Death of the Heavy Metal magazine. How do you feel about it? I'm a bit bummed, but the magazine has been so mismanaged. It's not a shock. I think we talked briefly about this in a previous episode about not really knowing what the heck was going on with heavy metal and the company that bought it. It was massive.
It's Lionsgate. I'm sorry, I just found it. Sorry,
and they did Lionsgate, the movies, right? Didn't Lionsgate do the?
No, that's New Line Cinema.
Weird. Why the hell would Lionsgate
have... Which movies?
So weird.
Wait, which movies?
Like the more recent
movies. The newer ones?
Yeah. Anyway, not important. Very weird. Yeah. But I thought someone else had something to do with it. Very weird that Lionsgate would own the original animated series unless they did it. But I don't think they did.
Fred Wolf.
I don't remember. But Massive Publishing, which is part of Whatnot, we've talked about them occasionally. They bought Heavy Metal and then didn't. Heavy Metal is basically done as a brand, as a franchise, as a book. Whoa, very loudly pouring ice. It's okay. They tried for years to make it work, never really did. They finished publishing the last issue and then canceled the relaunch, canceled everything coming up. Heavy Metal was an early, weird indie comic for me, right? I mean, my early days of kind of getting out of superhero stuff, Heavy Metal was something that I read when I was probably much too young. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? I've never been a regular reader of it, but it's Heavy Metal. It's an iconic brand, but the magazine not quite worked, I guess. Anthologies are tough in America. Magazine format stuff is tough in America. See DC Black Label, Distilleries, new Devil's Cut one shot that just came out. Lots of stores and readers do not support those books. There is no newsstand to sell Heavy Metal on. Def Leppard and Motley Crue do not rule the airwaves anymore. So Heavy Metal as a word that people walking into their local liquor store seeing is unlikely to grab this magazine on the shelf with some crazy ass Frazetta or Julie Bell or fucking
Louis
who
Royo.
else?
Jusko,
Yeah.
Boris.
So yeah.
I mean, half of my like left shoulder is heavy metal artwork that Louis Royo did.
Yeah. So, like the world has kind of moved on from this.
So this explains a conversation I had with Marshall today. And kind of how ridiculous it all is. He got a phone call from somebody asking if we did back issues, to which he answered yes. And then he goes, well, do you have any heavy metal back issues? And Marshall's like, no. And then this person, I guess without missing a beat, goes, do you know when you're going to get any more back in?
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
huh?
Yeah.
Sure, let me consult my Universe book to see when they're going to get delivered by some rando.
People don't understand how that stuff works. So I get that. I get that question all the time.
But I'm like, this explains why he got that conversation today.
Yeah. Heavy metal just is at this point basically done. Is there I think there's a way to make it work for sure. I think it's not heavy metal monthly magazine in comic book stores. I think it's something else, right? I think as a brand, I think you could sell those t-shirts forever. I think there's merch you could sell. I think a magazine quality quarterly, anthology of one-off stories could be good. I mean, I think their idea was good. I think they just didn't have the funding or backing for it, right? I mean, I think it's just going to be more expensive. They kind of were always sort of on and off whether they're releasing collections of the stuff in the books. They tried to release some like single issue versions of what was in the books, and that didn't quite work. So they had some really bad cover designs too. So I think that hurt it.
Man, this was a first for me. This was when I was way too young. I got introduced to heavy metal by older kids who read it. And it was just like there's something about it that's still kind of magical because it was so, like not dirty is not the word, but like forbidden. It was too adult, and that made it cool. And so you would look at those awesome covers and just try to imagine what the story. And the story wasn't even always in the issue; they just have a cover that was really cool. But sadly, as Ryan was touching on for the person who wrote in, heavy metal hasn't been relevant in years, like maybe decades. It's just not a model that works. Even when they had Morrison as the EIC, and then he made some comment about getting screwed over by whoever the owners were then and having to quit that job. So, and I think the last issue that came out was like a $15 cover price or something like that. It was.
Yeah, I don't think you get heavy metal out for less than $20. Yeah. I think there's just no way to be profitable.
No,
than that, because it's big. It's tons of different stories.
But
right?
It needs to. But the model is exactly the wrong model because it wasn't one-off stories. It was continuing with an irregular publication schedule and a super high price tag.
Right, when it's monthly. Yeah. And $2.99 or $2.95 or whatever, or $3.95, that was fine. When it's quarterly, continuing in $15, and it's every 6 months, that doesn't happen. No, I mean, I think there is a model to do it if you've got, regular release schedule.
There's that
stories are all done
again.
Yeah, stories are all done in one issue. So you have, let's say, 4. If it could be 150 pages, 200 pages, and 4 or 5 stories, right? They're done in one. I think you market the hell out of the brand. I think the brand, you have that T-shirt, you have the logo. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that is what, I hate to say it, more important than the actual comics in some ways. I think you license it in Europe. I think you get a lot of European people involved because that's where the market for it is. I think there's ways to make it work. It's just it's a company, right? It's a big deal. And it can't just be some weird side project. I think there's ways to make it work. Kevin, you want to buy heavy metal? Let's do it.
That's our next project.
It's our next project.
We're launching heavy metal. All right, let's do it. We warmed up.
Yeah. I'm sure it's.
So it's essentially would us be doing a meanwhile like 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah,
Hey,
Heavy Metal is definitely
It'll work. You'll get all these top creators to come in and bring them together, and then that will increase the market, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will.
To Mark Millar's comments.
Well, right, but they, it's funny. They were trying like variant covers on the new issues and a relaunch, and I'm like, no, that's not.
You can't variant cover Heavy Metal.
That's not what you do with this. That audience is, I mean, one off maybe, but like that's just not what this is. You're not going to get the comic people in. You're just not going to. Like, you're not going to get the American comic people in. You will get the same people that would have bought it either way. It's just the market for that is a different crowd than the comic store market these days, and it always has been, really, right? It was never a comic store thing. It was always this other thing that existed sort of outside the comic book store. It sold in comic stores, but I don't think that was the primary model ever. We got one more question here from Max. He says, looking to get back into comics after a few years off, as well as getting caught up on the backlog of episodes. So let me know when you hear this, Max. I'm primarily looking at DC and Image books at the moment. One thing I noticed while looking at DC is the abundance of cardstock variant covers. It almost seems there's been a step up to more variant covers for non-event books or number ones. Thoughts on this? I make it the regular covers and then cherry pick any additional ones I like. Thanks, Max. Well, Max, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. That's exactly why they do it. You buy, we're just talking about it for Heavy Metal, but for American comics, it kind of works. You buy the main cover, and then you cherry pick a couple variant covers you like, or you just buy the variant covers. Or if you're Toby, you just buy the variant cover and never open the book once. So that is, and I'm
five of them. It's five of them.
It sounds like I'm making fun of Toby, but I'm actually not, because that's exactly what a not insignificant portion of the comic readership, quote unquote readership, is these days. Is people like variant covers, people like the artwork, and contrary to other retailers and kind of the narrative around variant covers, actually I'm totally fine with that. I used to not be. I 100% used to be like, variant covers, what is this, stupid? If you like artwork, why wouldn't you like variant covers? I don't care why you want to buy it. You like the cover. No. You buy a print. What's the difference, right? It's the same idea. So choose the cover you like. Now in DC, right, they do the cardstock version, and it's $1 more. I'm okay with that, I guess. I don't know that I think it's great, but it's fine. They're really the only company that does that, so it seems to work for them. I think that extra $1 makes the lower print runs on the variants make sense. Marvel and DC and Image to a degree, and every company put out too many. I think less is more. I think if they have 1 or 2 variants, that's cool. If they have 12, that's kind of pointless. Talking about Action Comics 1050 that had like 27 covers and 25 of those were unnecessary, unfortunately. You had a Jim Lee cover, an Alex Ross cover, and 25 other covers. I'm sorry to everyone involved with those other 25 covers, including some good artists. You have an Alex Ross cover and a Jim Lee cover. There's no reason for those other 25 covers to exist. So, sorry. I'm just sorry. That's just the way it works. I
do like the artist spotlight they've been doing.
Mm-hmm. They just did the Rose Bash.
The Rose Bash is right now, and they're doing...
Yep. Very consistent theme across a bunch of books.
And like I like that. I think for me it's the excessive, like, okay, we're gonna have 2 variants, a 1 in 25, a 1 in 50. Like, it's like, just calm down with all the variants. Like,
yeah, it is DC. Marvel puts out a lot, but in their defense, they actually do scale back as the books run on. There's been numerous books recently where issues 4 and 5 or 13 or whatever have no variant covers, which is okay. They could have 50 issues like Dynamite does on every issue of Wolverine if they really wanted to, but they don't. They usually only have like 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. When you get 3 or 4 or more, if it's a number 1, I'll kind of like, okay, whatever. But if it's like, if you have like 7 variant covers for issue 9 of a book, it's like, why? And yeah, and that's why those number one sales go so high, right? I mean, again, it's getting boosted by variant cover orders. And it's not like I'm not ordering these out of nowhere. Yeah, sometimes they go a little too high. And, there's like the Fire and Ice and the Birds of Prey this week. They came out this week. I went a little too high on those. But they're cool covers, and I think they'll actually sell over time. I'm not too concerned about that. But when it comes to number 2 and on, I kind of just order my normal numbers, right? Plus a few extra. So, yeah, don't ever feel like you have to buy all the variant covers. You're never going to. Get the ones you like. And if you don't, I've cut back to, I used to always get the variant covers for number 1. And I'm like, I don't even need that anymore. Like some, sure. The Fire and Ice covers were all fantastic. So I got them all, of course. Yeah. But like, I don't need 4 variant covers for Blue Beetle number 1 or Flash number 1 or, I have my artists that I like that I'll, if it's a Jim Lee cover, I'll usually get it. If it's an Art Germ cover, I'll usually get it, right? And those are the artists that are going to sell the most, right? Because that's why people buy those covers.
Yeah.
We had a couple people that were getting all the Liber Mejo Detective Comics variants. He did Detective for like a year or two. We had a number of customers that were getting all those because he's fucking incredible. So yeah, you kind of just pick and choose. But yeah, don't go too crazy because you'll never catch them.
Well, the other thing too is you got to be on the ball with pre-ordering a lot of those, especially if they're like open orders. A lot of times stores aren't necessarily going to stock like a variant cover unless it's Jim Lee or Art Germ, but they're still even going to be hesitant, especially with that bump and that dollar extra.
Yeah, being on the retailer forums and the retailer groups, I don't think this is the majority, but I think this is the for a lot of vocal retailers, they do not stock variant covers on the shelf past pre-orders. Some do very well. We definitely do. Again, I have kind of the random variant cover for a Marvel or DC book. I'll get like two or 3 copies. We generally will sell them. When it is a Jim Lee or an Adam Hughes or something like that.
Well, Adam Hughes has an asterisk now.
Well, yes, I must see the Adam Hughes cover first.
Yes, you must see the artwork for the Adam Hughes cover before you will blindly order it going forward.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, it was Mary Jane Black Cat, right?
Wasn't it? No, wasn't it? I thought it was an Amazing issue.
No, it was the Mary Jane Black Cat, like the demonized cover.
Oh, that's right.
Or I'm like, well, Mary Jane Black Cat demonized Adam Hughes cover. Hughes, yeah. It does not matter what the art is. I will sell a shitload of those. It was a horrible cover. Mm-hmm. It was the most un-Adam Hughes cover I've ever seen in my entire life. I didn't think it was him. I thought it was someone else. I thought someone else sent me this cover.
Sorry.
There was it's like some, like, it's not even like demon looking. It's some like old hag looking, but it's all dark and black and you can't even tell. It's some like stringy hair black cat.
It's for number one
cover. Yeah, it does not look like Adam Hughes at all.
It was
look up on Mary Jane Black Cat number 1 Adam Hughes variant cover. You'll see it. It's not. It does not look like Adam Hughes. I seriously thought it was someone else. So yeah, I guess it's a little weird.
I mean, if you want to grab a copy, we got plenty at comicsconspiracy.biz.
Normally, I figured it would be a instant seller, but what are you gonna do? All right, I believe that is it. Actually, I do. We have not.
Didn't you say there was one more question, or that was it?
No, that was it. Yep, we got 2 questions.
Oh, that cover is. I mean, it's a cool drawing. It's not just really.
It just doesn't.
It's when you hear Adam Hughes, Mary Jane Black Cat, you don't expect to see Gollum.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It is not the cover I expected at all. So very strange. It just doesn't really look like Adam Hughes's art. So it's real weird.
Well, in that one, the artwork wasn't posted at last.
No, I 100% think they said we'll get more orders if we don't show this cover. And so they just hit the cover till after FOC. I guarantee you. I guarantee you.
How many stores were on the forums were bitching about that one?
I really don't think too many. But yeah,
because they didn't order excessively.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, Toby, for the last minute jump on. Now I have to edit this podcast. Thanks, Toby.
You cut me out.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
He has to edit to cut you out.
We have a new Patreon backer.
Oh, we do.
Edward at geekyvillain.com. We're going to get more info about geekyvillain.com very soon. He is a store of cool geeky merch that he is in the process of getting back up and running. And so Edward at geekyvillain.com, we'll have much more info in a future episode once he's up and running. But wanted to give him some support here at the very beginning of our end of the episode. So do not forget to check out geekyvillain.com in the coming weeks. And our regular top tier Patreon backers as well. The Lowdown with Luke and Derek on Spotify and YouTube. Don't forget to thank Joe Duff and Kelsey May, their continued support. Appreciate it. Craig Anderson at the Executive Evolution Podcast, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. And I know we sent copies of Meanwhile to a number of people on that list because I recognized a number of names while I was packing up packages, as well as all sorts of people that backed us, patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. So thank you all that bought a copy of Meanwhile as well. We hope you like it. Check out comicconspiracypodcast.com and Apple Podcasts for all our previous episodes. You can go to comicsconspiracy.biz, and I guess I should write Meanwhile and anthology.com. Meanwhile, anthology.com as well for all the links and previews for the comic Meanwhile, a comic shop anthology that myself and Kevin and Toby and Brock and Lane and Leanne and all of our friends and people that we don't know as well, but now they're our friends, did this amazing comic for our 30th anniversary, as part of our 30th anniversary, I should say, in support of our 30th anniversary of the store. It is out in the wild as of tomorrow when you're hearing this. So if you hear this on launch day, so go check it out. ConspiratorBrock.com. Brock's videos are up there. Pull list videos and go watch them do that. You're back on those, right? I think you've seen Boston about those.
Yeah, I'm back on those.
In your pull list videos. Mm-hmm. Nice. Charlie, I don't know. We could send the good doctor out looking for him because Charlie's been MIA, man.
Charlie, I will have proof of life because I will see Charlie at Rose City in a week and a half.
Nice. Charlie's Wanders in the Fourth Dimension podcast, all about Doctor Who. Not regular. I think it's once a month until the new season starts, but you can go listen to them talk about the good old Doctor on there. Kevin's weekly interview series called Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. Check out that every week, new interviews. And my wife Leanne has her art up at leannehill.com, as well as etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt. You can go buy some prints from her there. And I mean,
me
and Toby. Hello?
Yeah.
What's up?
I got my music video in a film festival on Thursday.
Nice. Again.
LA Music Video Film Festival. Yeah. All day event starting at 10 o'clock. I'm not sure which one, which slot mine is in. And then I have another one the following Friday, put on by the Asian Pacific Film Festival. It's a encore presentation from the one in May. So it's called Rewind. And that'll be the following Friday, the 22nd.
Can you see these online or is it in person only?
Oh, it's in person. So the one on Thursday is at the Culver Theater down over at Culver City. And the following Friday one is at the Directors Guild of America Theater, West LA, I think it is. But yeah, DGA Theater on the following Friday one.
Nice. Look at you. Go win those awards.
I know. I have to push my own what's it called? So you talk about it at the end of the podcast.
You got to tell me before. So I'll mention it.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
And then we have our own event on Tuesday, on Wednesday.
Yes, talked about that at the beginning of the episode. Yep, Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. at Comics Conspiracy. We'll be signing some copies of the book and maybe have a drink or 3. So toast 30 more years.
Yep. And our
when you do the
launch of
sequel?
Heavy Metal.
Yeah. I was going to say...
Is it going to take 30 years for the second one to come out?
Every 30.
Man,
That's our
probably.
model, Toby.
Probably.
Jesus Christ, man. I'm not going to be alive for another 2, so...
I've talked on and off, especially on Geekbox, about the site formerly known as Twitter.com. And it's one thing to say you're going to quit and not use it, and then people keep using it. But what happens with social media sites is that when everyone stops using it, everyone stops using it. And that appears to have been the case, at least for me, the past week or two. The greater comic community has just abandoned Twitter en masse. So it does appear that at least the majority of my time on Twitter is not spent logged on 24/7. I will still use it occasionally.
I was going to say, though, you post more on Twitter than you do on Blue Sky.
Not now. Not now. They're just, again, Blue Sky right now is the early days of Twitter. It's just people goofing and having fun, and it isn't the you must do this. I know I saw Heidi from Comics Beat was talking about it. They're doing panels about this. They're like, Twitter was the thing that drove people to your content, to your products. What do you do now? All right, there's going to be panels about this, like how to survive as a small press in a post Twitter world. So. Yeah, Blue Sky is not that. People post stuff on there. Does it actually get money? I don't know. Maybe.
Does it get traction? That's the thing.
But it kind of does. It kind of is for our crowd. It is. Like the video game people I follow, they for the most part haven't really moved over. I've talked with a few people that said they're like, yeah, I'm still on Twitter because it's where all the sports people are. So it's just as communities sort of come and go from Twitter, this will happen. So if the comic thing, the companies are on there, the brands are on there, but if the people aren't there, that's not what I'm going to use it for. It's part of what I use it for, or for the companies and the news and the brands, but that's not the whole reason. And so if people aren't using it, then that usage just drops off for everyone. So again, I'm not gone, but I just haven't had any reason to really post over there recently. So,
what I don't understand on Twitter is it's twitter.com. Not x.com, yet they're trying to rename everything.
Well, I was trying to get a link earlier. Sense. I was trying to grab a link earlier for a story, and it just straight up, just wouldn't load. I just couldn't even get.
Oh, I've had issues loading GIFs as a reply or something.
Constant. Yeah. Oh, constantly. No, it's terrible.
Like their analytics is garbage. They say go to the beta, and I'm like, I don't even want to click on that because who knows what that's over there.
So yeah, it's it feels like Blue Sky's doing okay. I hope it doesn't turn into Twitter because that's the whole point is to not be Twitter again, right? But it's I don't know how useful it is, but it feels a little more fun. But still on Twitter, so you can always. Is
this your segue into Ryan Higgins?
Follow us, yes, Ryan Higgins Ryan on Twitter. I'm also Ryan Higgins on Blue Sky. Brock is Brock Sager on both. Toby is Toby XI on both. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos just on Twitter as far as I know. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp on both, and right now I'm not going to put the comic store on Blue Sky. I don't think that's what it's for yet. So Comics Con Store still on Twitter if you want to check that out. On Facebook too. I do that. Technically have an Instagram, but I don't check it. I just post on it, but I don't ever look at it. I just post stuff to Instagram when we post to other places. And check out Geekbox. I was talking about nerdy old shit with Ryan Scott over there, and friends over at Manga Nations talking about manga and anime. Always good to catch up in the world of manga and anime. I've been on a Golgo 13 kick recently. My frustration that none of it's available in English. Golgo 13.
Of course,
yeah,
it's a classic.
Yeah, none of it's available in English. That's Resurrect Heavy Metal. Localize Golgo 13. Kevin, those are our next 2 plans. Okay, next we got 30 years to do this. Okay.
You want to know something funny?
So
the Slam Dunk movie came out in the theaters, the new one, right?
Yeah.
And Toei Animation actually has a YouTube channel, and they themselves have been putting up like, well, at first when I looked it was like 30 to 40 episodes of the actual cartoon. They're up to 70 now. I got my fingers crossed that they're going to have the entire cartoon on YouTube with English subtitles.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was like, if they'd start doing that with all the old cartoons, man, I'd be over the moon.
Yeah, I mean, I got to assume viewership.
I'll happily pay for it.
Yeah, I'm sure viewership on like Crunchyroll or stuff for that stuff is probably pretty minimal for the old cartoons. They're just people don't.
Yeah.
The
I'm like,
audience doesn't care about that stuff.
Put say out that way, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. That's cool. All right. That is it. That's another wonderful episode of the Comic Conspiracy Podcast. Again, thank you everyone that has backed and bought copies of Meanwhile, a Comic Shop Anthology, and we'll be back in a week or two to talk more about, I guess if we have any news about what's happened with the anthology in the meantime. In the meanwhile, I'll make sure to let people know when we come back to record. Should be next week. I said that 3 weeks in a row, and we haven't. So hopefully we're back to normal schedule. We'll find out very soon. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.